Moved by Mr. Simpson,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Tarazinski. Please.
Thank you. Back in November of 2010, Hope Haven came before you, the City Council, and asked for approval of the special use and rezoning for a vacant parcel next to their current facility. They now have the opportunity to acquire the southwesterly vacant parcel from their facility, and they are, again, following essentially the same process they took previously. The addition of this third parcel to their facility would allow them to provide greater programs, to have 500 additional square feet to the facility, and to redraw the site plan to make things more efficient and accommodating for the residents of Hope Haven. So before you tonight are two ordinances. The first is a request to rezone that southwesterly vacant parcel, followed with J2's ordinance for the special use for the Hope Haven facility. It should be pointed out that the occupancy that was debated last fall is not changing. Essentially, we're modifying the site plan to make it more efficient and allow Hope Haven to better use the land surrounding them in an efficient manner.
Thank you. Any questions of Derek? Any discussion? Mr. Simpson.
This will no longer be my ward to represent, but it will continue, God willing, to be the ward I'll live in for the remainder of my natural life, absent winning the lottery and escaping to Belize or Costa Rica. I would like to say some of the things I said at that time. I've lived in this ward a long time, and there are a number of things in our ward that are problematic, and our new councilman from Ward 1 will undertake to address some of those needs. I have never believed or thought or been convinced that Hope Haven was one of the things we needed to worry about as being problematic in Ward 1. I would like the other members of the council to do as much as they can to support the honorable and exemplary work that Hope Haven does and vote yes on this, but again, I feel constrained to abstain.
Thank you. Any other comments? All those in favor of receiving, oh, Dave, I'm sorry.
Before we vote, we go for a discussion, right?
No, this is to receive and file.
But then,
And then we'll go to waive second reading and then final vote. If you'd like to discuss now, though, please.
well, okay, now that I have the mic, careful what you wish for. This is exactly what I kept asking, why aren't you doing this? And I also made the statement that if they were to do this, they'd have my vote. So where there may be some that didn't understand all the questions that I asked before and thought I was against Hope Haven, this was the key piece that needed to get my vote. So I'm happy that they've gone ahead and acquired that, what I considered essential component to this project.
Any other further discussion on receiving and file? All those, oh, yes, please, Ron.
I'll just have to recuse myself from voting on this issue again due to the fact my wife serves on the board.
All those in favor of receiving and file signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Recuse myself.
One
Abstain.
abstain. Two abstains. Your reasoning for abstaining, Mr. Simpson?
Again, I know I said it in a humorous voice, but I really feel like a lame duck, and I don't want to be binding this council to something that I will no longer have any part to play in. I feel seriously about that, and I'm sorry if that inconveniences or confuses anyone.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. Okay, do I hear a motion then to waive second reading this evening, please?
So moved.
It's moved by Ms. Verbeek,
Second?
seconded by Mr. Simpson.
I can do that.
You're not completely a lame duck.
No, I
You
can
second
do
it.
that.
No, you can't. Once you abstain, that's it forever.
Can
for
he
life.
abstain?
No,
I don't
that's
think
not
you
true.
should second it.
Let's get the,
I don't think you should second it.
Okay.
is there someone else who would like to second that?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Tarazinski. Discussion on waiving. Mr. Baker.
Is there any reason that we have to push this through, other than that there's a new council that may want to weigh in? Is there a timeline that they have to, their contract expires to purchase, or where are we at?
No, there's no time
Please
limit.
state your name, please.
Lisa Sharp from Sharp Architects. There's no time constraint on the purchase. It's just trying to get this project We can't release the civil engineers to proceed with their work until we know that this property's done. Therefore, we can't finish the design drawings, and it just pushes us closer to December when we finish it.
Yeah,
You know,
hey,
we've obviously had a lot of conversation with this council over the last couple of months. I think it might be a little unfair to saddle the next council with having to start this discussion all over, but
And Dave, you just stated you were for this,
No,
and
don't
this was
misunderstand
exactly
me.
what you wanted, and now you're wanting to delay it?
No, don't misunderstand me. We have 3 new council people coming in, and since they haven't come to the mic to object, I don't have a problem, but I wanted to pause for a moment so that we didn't do something that appeared to be incorrect.
We certainly are counter to the attorney issue. You didn't want to delay it because of that. And Dave, you're inconsistent.
No, not at all. I don't see any objection. We're going to go ahead.
Roll call, please.
Just for clarification, Mayor, with 2 abstentions, you would need all 5 others voting for it in order for this to waive second reading.
Okay, thank you.
Alderman Terzinski.
Yes.
Burbick.
Yes.
Gallagher.
Yes.
Naylor.
Recuse myself.
Abstention.
Yeah, he's abstaining.
Alderman Baker.
Yes.
Camus.
Yes.
Simpson.
I'm sorry, abstain, but thank you all very much.
5 yes, 2 abstention.
Okay, now a motion to approve, please.
So moved?
Been moved by Mr. Tarazinski.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Burbick. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderwoman Verbeck.
Yes.
Gallagher.
Yes.
Naylor.
Abstain.
Baker.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Simpson.
Abstain.
Terzinski.
Yes.
5 yes, 2 abstentions.
Very good, thank you. Thank you for the work you're doing over there. We look forward to groundbreaking. Okay, the next ordinance is ordinance 11-16, approving a special use permit for a lodging house expansion on 1145 Rushmore Drive. May I please have a motion to receive and file this?
So moved.
Been moved by Ms. Burbick,
Second?
seconded by Mr. Tarazinski. Mr. Highland.
This is your companion piece to your last action. The special use is for the same occupancy you approved in November of 2010. I'm desperately trying to get to that, but essentially it's the same ordinance, just carrying it to this third vacant parcel, Lot 2 of the Glidden Meadows subdivision. So that's what the request is before you tonight.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor of receiving and file signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
Two abstentions. Do I hear a motion to waive second reading then, please?
So moved?
Moved by Mr. Tarazinski,
Second.
seconded by Ms. Burbick. Discussion? Roll call.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Naylor.
Abstain.
Baker.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Simpson.
Abstain?
Terzinski.
Yes.
Verbeek.
Yes.
5 aye, 2 abstention.
And may I please have a motion to approve this ordinance?
So moved.
Been moved by Ms. Burbick,
Second?
seconded by Mr. Tarazinski. Discussion? Roll call.
Alderman Naylor.
Abstain.
Baker.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Simpson.
Abstain?
Terzinski.
Yes.
Verbeek.
Yes.
Gallagher.
Yes.
5 aye, 2 abstention.
Ordinance passes. Thank you, Mr. Highland. Resolution 11-31, authorizing the mayor of the city of DeKalb, Illinois, to sign an agreement with Andrea's Medical Billing Limited to provide billing and collection functions for city-provided ambulance services. May I please have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Naylor,
Second.
seconded by Ms. Burbick. I think this was the discussion we had at the city, the COW meeting, the Committee of the Whole last week or 2 weeks ago. Any further questions about the ambulance billing at this point in time?
Just one.
Please.
If I could, thank you, Chief. I appreciate the backup in our earlier discussions on this. The idea here is to improve our collectability, billing services, their follow-up, and so on and so forth. So for the community's purpose, I think there's a potential benefit here and economic advantage to doing this, as I understand that.
Yes, we believe that this is a process and that the current vendor will probably do a very good job and perhaps a better job than the current vendor.
From their history, or any comparatives they have, is there any evidence as to what kind of improvement we might see? What kind of...
Well, while we won't get a commitment on how much percent of improvement, we did feel that technically and by process and even by contract specifics with the monetary exchanges that we'll be doing, we will already see improvement from many standpoints. So we're hoping that some of the issues that we felt was hardship in the community were actually process errors, and that with a better system in place, we'll perhaps get better reimbursements. It would probably be guesstimated at best maybe 20 to 25% improvement, but no one's going to commit to that other than what I just told you.
Understand about not being able to commit, but I was looking for data on the comparatives where they move from, some community that moved to them. I understand they're a large service with a lot of communities they're providing service to, that maybe they provided evidence as to what they improved in other communities and so forth.
All we can do is look at their percent of pay, and every community is different, and that's where we developed the potentially 20 to 25% greater increase in revenue.
Well, 20 to 25% of $1.3 million or $1.4 million is significant revenue.
It could be significant, yes.
I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Simpson?
Chief, will you still, with this company, give the relative level of leniency for hardship that we
Yes.
normally do?
Yes, we are very, very concerned about hardship in the community. We probably are one of the better municipalities about forgiveness of debt, particularly when it comes to ambulance service billing.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Baker.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Simpson.
Abstain?
Terzinski.
Yes.
Verbic.
Yes.
Gallagher.
Yes.
Naylor.
Yes.
6 aye, 1 abstention.
Very good. Resolution passes. Resolution 11-32, authorizing the mayor of the city of DeKalb, Illinois, to sign a construction engineering services agreement with Testing Services Corporation using motor fuel tax funds for material testing for Peace Road widening project, section 06-00172-00WR and 06-00172-01WR, and for the North First Street overlay project, section 09-0017601RS. Do I hear a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
It's been moved by Mr. Naylor.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Gallagher. Any questions about this? Discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderwoman Thomas.
Yes.
Simpson.
Abstain?
Terzinski.
Yes.
Verbic.
Yes.
Gallagher.
Yes.
Naylor.
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
6 aye, 1 abstention.
Resolution passes. The next set of resolutions relate to a new company who are coming in, working at our airport for aviation fuel, which I think looks like a very good concept moving forward. A Resolution 11-33, authorizing the mayor of the city of DeKalb, Illinois, to sign a branding agreement with Western Petroleum Company for aviation fuels brand display at the DeKalb Taylor Municipal Airport. And please have a motion to approve this resolution.
So moved.
Been moved by Ms. Kamas, seconded by Mr. Naylor. You want to give us an update about these four resolutions?
Sure.
Dale?
Mayor, Council, this branding agreement, I'd like to talk about all four of them at once, and then we can take questions at the end. I do have Bill Dean from Western Petroleum, and Bill and our city attorneys, Don Didier, have worked on this contract for a couple months now, so I believe it's crafted to the city of DeKalb and DeKalb Taylor Municipal Airport. ExxonMobil's been at the airport for the past 6 years. Bill Dean with Western Petroleum's been at the airport for about the past 26 years. He was with DeKalb Ag, provided fuel services with them, and also at our operators at the airport. So he's been around DeKalb for many, many years. ExxonMobil has brand recognition throughout the industry. That's what we need at DeKalb Airport. The marketing services to DeKalb Airport are free through this branding agreement throughout the country and the world. Many publications, marketing, It's all provided by ExxonMobil for us through this branding agreement. Quality control, which is huge. We assumed the fuel operation in February, well, in December, but we started fueling in February. Many of our first customers asked about our quality control. And with Bill's assistance, we had the quality control, documentation, everything we needed for the fuel. There was never a question about quality control. They also provide free line service or refueler service to our line service manager, which is an industry standard. They go through the training on customer service, quality control, how to handle airplanes, how to tow aircraft, a little bit of everything that our line service really needs to have. We also get up to $145 million of completed operations insurance, which is after you put the fuel in the aircraft and it leaves, you are covered by ExxonMobil. That's part of our branding agreement. On the 100 low-lead truck lease, which is the avgas truck that we have out there, that is for the small aircraft, the piston-powered aircraft. We're spread over a large area. 98% of our aircraft on the airport are piston-powered aircraft. So that truck does go right to our customers and our hangars, the people that rent our hangars. It's a great customer service tool to have. In events we have, there's aircraft parked all over the airport that we go and service with that truck. We can continue to sell fuel. Say we have a power outage and our fuel pumps don't work. We still have trucks to fuel. This truck lease has a major maintenance plan along with it. So if transmissions, pumps, anything on that truck goes bad, ExxonMobil or Western Petroleum does repair it for us. We just change oil and minor maintenance. That's what we do with the truck lease. So I really agree with this branding agreement on the marketing part of it. We need to market this airport as we've been talking about for many years, and this is a great way to do it. ExxonMobil is very well known in the industry. So if you do have any questions for Western Petroleum or ExxonMobil, Bill Dean is here, or Don Didier can answer anything about the contract for you also, and I'll try.
Thank you. Questions of Mr. Cleveland? Please, Mr. Simpson.
What kind of things do we need to be insured against once the plane fuels up and leaves?
That's if fuel contamination. What happens with ExxonMobil, there's every 6 months, we have a quality control inspection. They come out, ExxonMobil, Western Petroleum people come out and inspect our operation. If we don't pass, things are halted until we're up to speed again. We have never had that happen, and we don't plan to have it happen again.
Thank you.
Ms. Verbeek?
These are questions for Tom. Well, I'll probably have to read a little. I know you didn't memorize this thing. I just had a question for everybody else that's looking at this, page 3, paragraphs A and B. It talks about customer, and that's the city, shall be responsible for conducting an inspection by appropriately trained representative of customer's sole risk and expense. Who is that person?
What agreement are you on? Again, I'm sorry.
Are you in the fuel supply agreement?
Inspection and measurement.
The branding agreement.
Branding agreement?
Oh, the branding
It's
agreement.
the branding agreement.
I'm sorry.
It's in there. They're all together.
I just
Okay.
wondered who that was at the airport that did that, does that.
There it is.
Okay, an item.
Bill's here, so.
Main paragraph 3, subparagraph.
Okay, it's paragraph 2, inspection and measurement, right at the top of the page.
Uh-huh.
Paragraph A, about the 4th or 5th line down, it talks about, I think this person has a lot of responsibility. I just wondered who it was.
Okay, so you're referring to as specified herein, customers shall be responsible for conducting inspection by an appropriately trained representative at customer's sole risk and expense.
Right.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Since we provide that training and since we actually conduct the inspections, but if we find a default during the inspection, in other words, it's a piece of equipment that needs to be replaced that does not fall under our responsibility, either it may not be a fuel truck, but it might be the city's fuel farm, then we'll make that recommendation that they should replace a pressure relief valve or an air eliminator valve or something like that. Customer shall be responsible for any delay in delivery caused by inspection or such inspection shall be noticed in associated delivery paper. Is that what you're talking about, that one?
I think
That's just basically the...
I guess I'm
American-
just saying, it says
Yeah.
the city's responsible for this. I just wondered who
Yeah.
does it.
When we were talking about, and when you said that we have to sign off basically on the delivery of the gas.
That's correct.
She wants to know who at the airport is going to do that. What city employee or what person at the airport is actually.
It would have to be someone that you designate that's an approved agent to sign that off. Normally, when the truck arrives and he starts to offload the fuel, someone there should be there to receive the fuel and quality control the fuel before it's put into the city fuel farm. So at that point, that's when your agent would test the fuel and then authorize it to be put into the airport fuel farm.
Can I say something too?
Yeah.
Ever since we started doing
Yeah, so who does that?
doing this unbranded, we're selling unbranded fuel right now.
Okay.
We want to go branded.
Yeah.
Ever since we started receiving fuel, we've had Becker Fuel and this Beston Fuel Group out of Midway come and help us receive fuel, train us on quality control, everything we needed to do, all the documentation that we need. So he's been out there since February helping us do that, getting us trained on how to receive fuel, check all the quality control, check all the documentation, what we need to do to have it safe in the ground and safe for us to sell. So yes, the training has been done.
And I guess if I could, what I hear you saying is that it's not one individual, it's who's the
Right.
trained people who happen to be on staff at the time when the fuel is delivered.
Correct.
Well, I just thought that was a big question because there's a lot of risk involved, as Don said. And the same, right along with it, if you want to stay up the microphone on
Sure.
page 4E,
Page 4 or paragraph 4?
page 4 at the bottom. So that's page 4 and E, paragraph E has lots of numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so forth through 10. And these all talk about technical requirements.
That's correct.
And I just was curious how many staff we have that are certified to do all of these tasks. I was a question for Tom. I was concerned about if we have like at least 2 in case somebody's sick, or maybe we have 4 or 5.
Yes, as of right now, we have 3 trained to do this. We have 4, we have 3 trained right now.
Okay, because these are very specific requirements. And at the same time, one last question, you'll be so relieved. Because that was related to the technical aspects and people that have to be certified and trained, so those two went together. I wondered back on page 3, paragraph B, back under inspection and management, we apparently only have 5 days if we have any claim or any to assert that we have a claim. Is that too restrictive, or is that just normal procedure?
Can you say, I'm sorry, can you say the number again? Where you
I'm
at?
sorry.
Paragraph 2B
2B.
on page 3.
On page
Inspection
3.
and measurement again.
B, okay.
Just the very next paragraph, B. It talks about we have only 5 days to make a claim if we see any problem, I guess, such as contaminated fuel or something. Is that, Tom, do you feel that's too restricted, or is this just standard operating procedure?
Actually, that fuel should be quality controlled before it's even put into the farm, so any discrepancies should be captured at the time that it's removed from the truck before it's put into your fuel
Well,
farm.
I
Good
agree,
answer.
but
5
I
days
wondered if
is
the
like-
claim period was
It's
too.
like 4 days and 23 and a half hours too much. Because you should know within the first half hour whether you're going to accept that fuel or reject it.
The fuel, once the fuel truck gets to the airport, the fuel is tested before it's put in the ground. So we can refuse a load of fuel if there's contaminants, anything in it, we can refuse it right there.
Well, I was just asking that question in the eventuality that something like that could come up, but if that's standard operating procedure, I mean, I have no knowledge of this, that if you're satisfied, I'm satisfied.
Errol? Mr. Baker?
I'm glad you answered that one. I got a little nervous. I didn't catch that. But my only question would be, under what sort of scenario would we need that 4.5 days? Maybe the delivery was made and nobody was there, and then it went back in and was tested after the driver
We just
elected to
figured that's
deliver it?
very ample time in order for, because in your particular case, you only have one fuel storage tank, okay? The contract is really geared to looking at those that may have more supply tanks where they may let it set for a day before they even approach that tank or may not even open that tank. In your particular case, your settling tank is your refueler, and then your refueler would then, which is the truck on the airport, and then after you exhausted the fuel in that, then you would go to your storage tank and lift this product.
So as we grow and we need another tank, then this contract covers that
It
eventuality?
does covers that at that
All
time,
right,
yes.
perfect, thank you.
Mr. Tarazinski.
Just a couple questions, please, on the economics of the branding. First of all, just my understanding, you indicated that ExxonMobil's been here 6 years and servicing the airport. Is this agreement basically the same agreement that the prior FOB had? Is this standard agreement?
Right.
The FBO?
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, this is the same agreement that the city signed 6 years ago.
Okay, so
So
this...
it's already been, it was handled, we first started working with the city.
Okay,
Okay, and then 2004, I think, or 5, and then it went to or R&M to JA, and then on to DeKalb Aviation LLC, and now back to the city.
okay. So for all material, and I guess I'll address this to Dawn, for all material purposes, this is the same contract, same language, same
Yes.
provisions, same inspection requirements,
Yes.
et cetera, et cetera. Okay. From an economic standpoint, then, I guess there's some advantages to us to do this. And Tom, as far as the branding aspect, you talked about, they're marketing the airport and how we grow volume.
Correct.
Okay.
And, go ahead.
As we measure that, and if we look at our volume today and we look at our volume where it was when we were under the prior agreement with the city, have we lost significant volume and activity to where we are today?
Actually, we're either the same or up
We're
from
up.
where we were.
And
So
with this, we should see growth?
we will see growth because of the marketing capabilities and there's many things that ExxonMobil will do for us to get the news of what we're doing here to the pilots, the aircraft owners, corporate flight departments. They have publications that go out, articles on our airport, you know what I mean? So it'll be a process. They have many programs, if you want to talk about the contract fuel program.
Yeah, the contract fuel program. Western Petroleum handles most of the Fortune 500 companies. We currently represent in excess of about 9,500 aircraft and of turbine class aircraft. We've already started to have some of our customers show up. We've continued to go ahead and work with the city. I mean, when you've worked with somebody this long, we're going to continue to make sure that, it keeps rolling. And so when you were between systems there, we went ahead and said that we'd be more than glad to work with you and try to keep that moving. We've actually kind of jumped ahead of ourselves a little bit, and we've already referred our customers here to start uplifting fuel, and they have already started doing that. Of course, we're a little bit handcuffed because without the contract, we don't have a credit card processing unit in effect yet, so we're trying to do it with just local bank Visa, MasterCard, but that's not what the turbines carry. But we have already started to increase that business. We have already started to increase the aircraft coming to the airport. And we continue to, it's also on our vest to do it as well, so, to promote the airport.
Sure, thank you. The other thing, specifically, it talks about credit card provider will charge a service fee of 1.95% versus current fee of 3.5%. So that fee charge is going to be a reduction in cost to the city?
Right. Actually, ExxonMobil subsidizes the city for using their credit card system.
Okay, so that comes back to us?
Right.
That subsidy. The other thing, I guess we're taking all of these, right? All the
Right.
different
And-
promotions
and
here that we have facing us?
Yeah, since I have the microphone, I just want to share a glimmer of hope we had a few weeks ago. 4 nights in a row, we had a cargo DC-9 come into the airport at 1 o'clock in the morning, full of seat covers for Johnson Controls. There's 3 of us out there helping unload this aircraft and fuel this aircraft. We basically went through between 1,000 and 2,000 gallons of fuel a night into that one aircraft, 4 nights in a row, and then we got them off probably about 4 o'clock in the morning. These DC-9s come from Mexico, they clear customs in El Paso, then come to DeKalb, Illinois. So I think that's a little glimmer of hope that maybe we got something going here.
Thank you. As I understand it, this is basically a 3-year agreement.
Correct.
Okay, if we change our, the discussion of regionalization and so forth, I guess I'd ask the city manager from the standpoint of having a contract like this in place, is there any implications to that if that should happen?
No, I don't believe so. That would probably have to be part of the package that we would sell to the regional partners.
Okay, thank you. The other thing is it talks about prices and how prices are determined, and that basically they're at the sole discretion of Western as far as fuel prices, and what's happening with oil and so forth is obviously changing.
I wish it was. It's actually, it's dictated by the market at the day of poll. What we have offered to the city is that we have multiple terminals, and Western itself, because Western is allowed to use its own supply and distribution system in conjunction with ExxonMobil, because we are the exclusive marketer for ExxonMobil nationwide for the aviation division. So we can use their supply and distribution, we can use our own, okay, or we can go refinery direct.
Okay, thank
So
you.
what we do basically, so that you understand how we do that pricing, is it is put onto a matrix. If Tom orders, it goes through a matrix, and the logistics are calculated, in whichever is the cheapest place to pull the fuel, that's where it's going to come from.
Okay, so that process in the index, when it talks about that being at, Western shall have the right at any time without prior notice, blah, 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 talks about your right to control that. That index is something that Tom would have access to, so he would be able to verify such an action.
Right. Every week we get updates on fuel prices, where what we've seen in the past, month is the fuel prices going up. So we can, if we have room in our tanks, we can certainly buy fuel low and store it.
Okay,
So
my concern was one of control and verification, and you're saying you have such control.
Right.
And you have an index that you could verify against, to
Correct. And-
assure ourselves that we're doing the right thing on purchase.
Right. And Western they've been very good about calling me up, saying, okay, we think the fuel is going up on Thursday.
Okay.
If you have room,
We cannot buy outside of Western, though.
No, you
No.
cannot, because I'm insuring your fuel.
Yeah, I understand. Thank you.
Questions? Ms. Verbeek?
Just a real quick question. I'm a little confused about the payment procedure. I was assuming that it was paid for and then the city gets back a certain amount. I read that in one piece, and then the next piece I read that we actually pay for it. How does that actually work?
You should talk about bulk of it.
we pay for the load of fuel. I think I know what you're,
Yeah.
we pay for the load of fuel, gets in the ground, then we sell the fuel, then we get that payment back from the customer. But we pay for the tanker of fuel to go in the ground first.
Okay, because somewhere it says that, I'm a little mixed up between Western and Exxon, but somehow they pay and then they give the city back a certain amount of money.
Oh, on the credit card or the,
Might be talking about the in-the-flow buyback program?
the contract fuel, I think that's what you might be talking about. The contract fuel, which a lot of customers are on a contract fuel agreement, where they come in, they have a contract fuel card, credit card, and what happens is Western Petroleum takes a liability of paying for that fuel. We get paid in 3 days for that fuel, and they go out to that customer of that aircraft to get payment. So actually, it's a better deal for us. We have our margins set in that contract fuel.
Okay.
So we get paid in 3 days, but Western Petroleum then goes out to that customer to get paid.
So we have a couple things going on here.
Correct.
That was my confusion.
Right.
Thank you.
Mr. Baker?
Let's just say that are you fairly certain that the fuel price is going up and you've got room for, say, half a load, but can you order a full load to be delivered when there's room and let it be in transit, so to speak?
You can order a full load. What kind of kills you is ordering a half a load, because they charge you the same amount of cartage to the airport
That's
on a
not,
full load as they do as a half load, so your per gallon price on a half load goes up.
let me try the question again. What I'm getting at is that, kind of like locking in a contract, like when we buy salt, but we know it's sitting on a barge out in the Mississippi River, but it's not delivered yet, but we know our price. Can we lock in and commit to a full load and then accept delivery when there's room in the tank, so that we get a full load? So you can't hedge is what I'm saying.
Well, we get notified 24 hours in advance whether it's going up or going down. So in that 24 hours, if I get a notification it's going up 50 cents a gallon and we have room in the tank for a full load, I can order at that time because I'm in that time limit. But I can't say I want to order next Thursday.
So,
we only have so much capacity. That's the problem. If we had a lot more capacity, it might work that way, but,
well, I'm asking the supplier. I guess I should have been more direct.
Normally, when you're hedging and you're trying to lock in barrel movement, it's usually associated with, take no offense, but it's for larger customer because it has to be ratable. So in other words, if you were in the market to buy weekly 10,000 barrels, which is 420,000 gallons a week, then we could do a contract. But I can't pair you with anyone based on this current volume because it's not ratable, okay? Did that answer your question?
So we can't partner with another airport?
Well, but it better be a good-sized airport. And then you're talking about airports that are on the pipe, and you're not on the pipe. You're truckload logistics. So most ratable barrel business is done on the pipe.
Well, what I was getting at is the thought that you could assign a tanker load to us to be delivered, and if you're saying that can't be done, what does it cost to put another tank in the ground for if there's some huge movement, or is it on the ground?
I haven't looked, but I know it's not cheap nowadays.
Yeah.
So we couldn't pay for that tank if there was a big jump of, what is it, 10,000 gallons in the tank or 20? 12? What's a full load on that?
12's minimum that you'd want to take. A full transport load is 75 to 7,800 gallons.
75, 7,800, okay.
But based on the amount and the time you're using it, based on net present value of money and everything else, I wouldn't strongly recommend that at this point.
I'm just asking questions. I don't know the volumes. I was just asking that, well, certainly over the next 3 years, Tom will come back to us sometime and say, hey, look at what's going on here. And look, if we had another tank or another program, we could have utilized a little bit more.
Now, I will tell you one thing we do is the CSRs that handle Tom do tell him when to pull the trigger and when not to pull the trigger, because we know that all prices change at 12:01 a.m. nationwide for previous week-based pricing. So we give him that notification. We try to give him a heads up of when to hedge himself or to weight average his inventory based on your current capabilities with your farm. So really, we're helping you do that and hedge yourself currently. So if there's a chance that we can move the fuel into the refueler, get your tank down low enough so we can bring the fuel in, then take advantage of the price before the hike, which starts at 12:01 a.m. Tuesday morning.
What's the capacity of the refueler? You just sparked what I was getting at. 3?
Well, there's 2,000 for the jet, 2,200 for the jet, and 1,200 for the 100 octane.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You have
14.
2,200.
So unless you just gotten fuel, you might be able to take advantages of
Right.
most of the
That's
time.
the beauty
Gotcha.
of a 12,000 gallon tank.
All right. Okay. Then we get another refueler instead of a big tank if it comes up.
Yep.
But I'm not saying that I know. I just want to make sure that I understood how you did it. Thank you.
Other comments? Mr. Naylor?
Can we take these item 3, 4, 5, and 6 dealing with all the same in omnibus fashion?
If someone makes a motion to do that.
I'd make a motion that
Second.
we take these items.
Okay. Let me read the resolutions for the public, and then you can vote on that, please. Resolution 11-33. Well, do I need to read them first then, Dawn, or?
You've already read the first one,
Right.
so you can.
Just
yeah,
read.
You should read them.
Do we have to
Okay,
vote on
Resolution
whether they're all omnibus then first?
11-34.
After he reads them.
Authorizing the mayor of the city of DeKalb, Illinois to sign a security agreement with Western Petroleum Company assuring payment for aviation fuels at the DeKalb Taylor Municipal Airport. And then Resolution 11-35, authorizing the mayor of the city of DeKalb, Illinois to sign a fuel supply agreement with Western Petroleum Company for the purchase of aviation fuels at the DeKalb Taylor Municipal Airport. And the final resolution, 11-36, authorizing the mayor of the city of DeKalb to sign an equipment lease agreement with Western Petroleum Company for refueling equipment at DeKalb Municipal Airport. Do I hear a motion to take these in omnibus? The motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion on the omnibus vote? All those in favor of taking these omnibus signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Are there any opposed?
Abstain.
Okay. Further discussion on these resolutions then.
Just one last question, just to confirm, the other three resolutions, are those all basically similar to the same agreements we had prior and the FOB had as well? Is there any
Right.
material change here, I guess is what I'm
Right.
asking?
The branding agreement, security agreement, and then the fuel supply agreement were the same, yeah.
Okay, so it's just the lease agreement then on the
Right.
truck itself, which is standalone and
Right.
pretty modest. Thank you.
Roll call, please, on these resolutions.
Alderman Simpson.
Abstain.
Terazinski.
Yes.
Verbic.
Yes.
Gallagher.
Yes.
Naylor.
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
6 aye, 1 abstention.
Resolutions passes. Resolution 11-37, authorizing the mayor of the city of DeKalb, Illinois, to sign a consulting services agreement with Baxter and Woodman for the completion of an update to the DSAT's bike pedestrian plan. Mr. Gallagher, do you want to make a motion? Do I hear a motion to approve this?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Baker. Any discussion on this? This relates to the bike paths. We've discussed this several times, I think, in the cow and up here. And this was brought to us at the DSAT's meeting, if I'm not mistaken. That is combined of Sycamore, Cortland, DeKalb, and NIU that had made a discussion and moved that we move forward with this. I believe we're just the fiscal agent for these pass-through monies, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct, there's no local expense involved with this. This is pass-through monies from the federal government.
Any discussions on this? Roll call, please.
Alderman Terazinski.
Yes.
Verbic.
Yes.
Gallagher.
Yes.
Naylor.
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Simpson.
Abstain.
6 aye, 1 abstention.
The final resolution is 11-38, authorizing the mayor of the city of DeKalb to sign a consulting services agreement with Furr, Graham, and Associates for the rail freight study in the amount not to exceed $39,000. May I please have a motion to approve this resolution?
So move.
Moved by Mr. Terazinski,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Gallagher. I believe this is also a DSAT's, the same as the bike path.
Correct.
Any questions then on this one? Roll call.
Alderwoman Verbic.
Yes.
Gallagher.
Yes.
Naylor.
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Simpson.
Abstain.
Terazinski.
Yes.
6 aye, 1 abstention.
Resolution passes. Reports and communications. I'd like to start by, again, thanking the aldermen that are leaving and women. It's been a pleasure serving with all of you. I think, Ms. Kamas, you've brought a new perspective to the council, and I've enjoyed that, and hearing your opinions and your ideas, and public safety, especially in the 7th Ward there, is an issue. And best of luck to you, and thank you for the time you've served.
Thank you.
And Ms. Verbeek, you've certainly brought some, made us look at government a little differently than maybe we have in the past, and how government should operate. And I think you've made us all look a little closer at how we spend all of our money and how we look at contracts. And I think that's been a good exercise for all of us. So thank you for the time you've served. And Mr. Simpson, I appreciate